Good morning, it's Nakae with your Med School Minute. It's been a tough couple of weeks, and I just want to affirm unequivocally that Black Lives Matter. I strive to be an anti-racist, and what that means is that this week I have been thinking about ways that racism shows up in my life. Part of being an anti-racist is understanding that racism is not over there or someone else's problem, it's my problem. How do I then take responsibility for the racism in my life? Couple of thoughts for you. In the space between the benefit of the doubt and assuming the worst, that's the space where racism shows up. In the space where we can just apply the rule and let the consequences fall, or really go to bat for someone, that's the gap where racism shows up. In the space where we can stay silent or stand by when we're witnessing something that we know is wrong, but it's not really our problem, it's not really our place, and we choose to say nothing, that's the space where racism shows up. These are the places in my life that I have had the opportunity to be anti-racist or racist, because there's no middle ground, let's be clear. One of the challenges, I think, in recognizing ways that we uphold racism in our everyday lives is to continually acknowledge that we benefit from it, and that is uncomfortable. I've been uncomfortable this past couple of weeks, I think, because I'm growing and learning new things and discovering new ways that I can enact anti-racism in my personal spaces and with the people in my life and with the people that I love. So another really important piece of this is when we think that someone who is oppressed is victimizing us, that is white supremacy, that is where racism shows up. So in these moments where we're lashing out, we need to step back and say, how is racism showing up here? What role is racism playing? Before we open our mouths to criticize someone or to say, this has nothing to do with race, we need to step back and say, but what does it have to do with race, and how could racism show up here, even in ways that don't pertain to our intended consequences? Racism is less about what we intend and more about the impact of the consequences and the things that we say. Is there a time to stay silent? Is there a time to speak up? How do we manage all this? I just want to share with you those insights this week and to encourage you to ask yourself, how is racism showing up in your life? In what ways can you move on that spectrum to make more decisions to be anti-racist? That's my challenge for you this week. Black Lives Matter. Love you all. Bye.